But let's go over to the United States of America now, because 16 states and 1 US territory are casting their ballots on what they call Super Tuesday. The results of today's vote will determine the two major parties' presidential candidates ahead of the November election. And for more, let's cross to former presidential candidate, the man himself, Mr. Joe Walsh. Joe, very good evening to you. Welcome back to the Independent Republic.
Michael, my friend, good to be with you.
Now, I've seen a few Super Tuesdays in my time. I think this one couldn't be less super, to be honest, because, I mean, it's a foregone conclusion what's going to happen, isn't it?
Go, Michael, go watch your favorite movie tonight. Go watch TV, read your favorite book. There's no story here. I wish I could bring you news. Look, this is going to be Trump versus Biden. Donald Trump was always going to be the Republican Party nominee from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Period. It'll become official maybe maybe this week, maybe next, but it's his.
And I mean, as far as the nominations go, I suppose the only exciting thing about Donald Trump is who he might pick as his running mate. When does he have to do that?
He doesn't have to pick his running mate until the convention in the summer. You know, I'm no fan of Trump, Michael, but he is a pretty good marketer. I'll give him that. And so I would expect Trump may come out sometime in the next month or two and pick his VP. Yeah. I think he'll pick a woman. If he were smart, he'd pick a woman, but I think he'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard he's looking at the Texan governor as well. He was down in Texas recently because of all the deportations and the arrivals and the nastiness going on down there on the border. It's obviously quite a hot part of the country.
Yeah, look, Michael, you know, you and I disagree on Trump, but one political thing that we'd agree on, Donald Trump has a problem, more of a problem with women voters, especially women voters who live in the suburbs. It would go a long way to help him if he picked a female VP. This is going to be a really close election. I'll be honest with you. If the election were held tomorrow, Trump would win. Joe Biden's got a lot of work to do. I think it's important that Trump does, because remember, Michael, Donald Trump will only serve one term if he wins, unless, of course, he tries to stay in office.
Yes, of course. One story that I wanted to ask you about, which I saw just earlier before we came on air, is a story that I've seen in the US running currently, which says the Biden administration has admitted that it secretly flew 320,000 asylum seekers into the US last year in order to reduce numbers at the border. Have you seen anything on that?
Yeah, I did see that, and it's a huge problem. And I will say the Trump administration did the same thing, and the the Obama administration did before. When presidents don't want there to be big log jams at the border because it looks bad, they'll put them on planes, trains, automobiles, you name it. Look, Michael, this is a horrible issue for Biden. Our border is a crisis. Joe Biden is largely responsible for it. I expect him, Michael, to come out Thursday at the State of the Union and announce a couple tough actions that he might do on his own at the border.
Right. And what do you make of Kamala Harris's kind of appearance this week, where she looked as though she was attempting to kind of make everybody remember who she was? I spoke to a guy over there just the other day who I said, you know, the funny thing about Kamala Harris is I've heard her voice so rarely, I wasn't even sure it was her.
It's going to change, Michael. That's going to change because, look, Trump and Republicans are going to run against her. Trump and Republicans are going to say that Joe Biden, if he wins, he won't serve 4 years. He'll be 86. He won't make it. So really, we're running against Vice President Harris. So I think Republicans are going to do a lot of this. I think the Biden team, Michael, has decided we're going to put her out there and we're going to put her in situations where she can look good to try to combat that.
Yes. Now, I've got to ask you about another story as well. I'm sure you'd like this one. This is the story that's in the Rolling Stone magazine about all the drugs that were apparently being taken during the Trump administration. There's no suggestion that he was taking them, but they're saying that inside the White House, there was Xanax, there was speed doing the rounds. I mean, the only thing I would say is that if he was on speed, he wouldn't want to eat all those cheeseburgers, surely at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. No, that's the one thing we know about Trump. I don't think he drinks, and I don't think he does drugs. Look, Michael, I just started watching 2 weeks ago House of Cards. I had never seen it.
Really?
Great show. I can't. And again, I'm a former congressman. You work on the Hill, you work on Capitol Hill, or you work in the White House. I don't know enough about this story, but these are crazy environments. I would imagine that many of these staffers are potentially taking things maybe they shouldn't be taking. These are crazy environments.
Yeah, well, we know they found some cocaine that Hunter Biden left in the Biden White House, but I mean, that's another story.
You don't know that, Michael. You don't know it was Hunter Biden's.
They found it the weekend after he'd been there, right? That was how they found it.
Look at you. Look at you starting something again.
No, I'm not. I'm honestly not. The other thing that I was going to ask you about, of course, is that under the whole kind of administrative rules, you would think people would be having drug tests all over the place, wouldn't they? Random drug tests to make sure they're not actually taking too many drugs?
Yes, they should. And I don't know why, Michael. It seems like we've abandoned that.
Yeah.
Even late in the Trump administration. I don't know if that goes on now. Absolutely, there should be random drug tests. These people are working in the White House.
Yeah.
They're working right next door to the president. We need to know that.
Absolutely. And on the House of Cards front, you should look at the English version of the House of Cards, because you know it was written.
What is it?
It's called the House of Cards, but it was written. It was a BBC show, because it was written by a former advisor to Margaret Thatcher. So it was originally written around.
Oh, Michael, I want to watch that.
Yeah, it's a great show. It really is, and it's not. It hasn't got Kevin Spacey in it, but it's got a couple of very, very famous English actors in it. So I would highly recommend it.
Oh,
let me finish.
I'm going to watch.
Let me finish up with your tweet from today about an incredibly ridiculous story. You know me, I'm all against the wokists in this country, in this world. And the famous picture, which I think we could show, of the VE Day kiss, right? What an iconic picture, fantastic picture. Now, surely you're going to tell me this isn't true. The Department of Veterans Affairs have just banned this picture. Have they gone mad?
So I got bad news and good news, Michael. Look at that picture.
Yeah.
VJ Day, 1945, August 45. Whoa. The Department of Veterans Affairs sent out a memo earlier today banning that picture because they thought it was politically incorrect. Because, you know, Michael, that sailor did not know that nurse. That was just a spontaneous kiss. And the Department of Veterans Affairs thought that would be inappropriate today.
Right.
The good news is so much crap came out on social media about this.
Yeah.
The Secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs reinstated that picture, so it will not be banned.
Well, you might have said to them as well, if you were having to make the argument, well, it was quite inappropriate for the Japanese to bomb Pearl Harbor as well. You know,
Thank you.
And maybe when you actually want to react to something like that being all over and you can actually celebrate life again, you might feel like kissing a stranger in Times Square.
No, Michael, you and I share that wokeness, man. Wokeness is going to kill us. All this political correct bull crap, it's going to kill us.
Yeah, I'm glad we can always end up on an agreement, Joe, you know? I know you get a little
like it when we fight. I like it more when we fight.
Well, I'll tell you what, once we've got Trump versus Biden official, we'll have a big fight, I'm sure. That's going to happen.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Joe Walsh, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Michael.
Very sensible man. Used to be more sensible, of course, when he was less anti-Trump, but that's another story.